All right, welcome back to Imagine AI Live. Here we're the final day. I'm very happy to have Elatia Abate here sitting with me. And you got off the stage yesterday. I've heard some great things. You're a very good public speaker.
Oh, thank you.
But could you introduce yourself to the audience and what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Elatia Abate. I'm a futurist, and I view my job as going out to the very edge of disruption, understanding the things that are changing our world, and then transforming or translating what's happening into tools, strategies, and frameworks that businesses can use to create results right now.
Well, I love futurists. That's very pressing field, I feel. And so, how do you help people? Like, who are you? Are you a consultant? Who do you work with?
Yeah, so my main clients include Fortune 500, growth stage companies, and then occasionally a university and governments.
Wow. And so are you working with the leadership teams in those organizations?
Often leadership teams or the leadership of a larger team. So like, let's say a global company has a global sales team, then often with sales leaders and then everybody within that vertical.
So how long does it take for you to understand their problems and their context?
Well, I think that it depends on the situation. Usually the problems are or at least surface problems are fairly easy to identify. Where I think the interesting stuff comes in is what is beneath what's actually being stated out loud, and where what people view their current problems meet what's coming down the road in terms of future disruption, future and or almost now disruption.
So that's really interesting. How would you, like, with some of the surface level problems that you typically identify, or they're coming to you, but then also touch on those, and then what are the under the surface ones that you tend to find?
Sure. So I think one that's in particular relevant to the context of Imagine AI, it's like, okay, we want our team to now be an AI first team. And so that means that we're going to buy technology and we're going to train everybody on AI, and that's how we're going to get there. Yes, training people on AI is useful. Yes, it will be important. But one of the biggest challenges in the face of this is to not adopt AI just for AI, but to rather hook it into a relevant, measurable business challenge and or opportunity that you can begin to show use cases for, both so that you can get your ROI much more quickly, but also so that you can get buy-in from people who may still be a little reticent or suspicious of AI as a technology in their space.
Yeah, that's very interesting you say that. It sounds like you want the data. You want to be able to measure things, and then that's how you can show the progress to people. Sure. So how do you go about getting that data? Is it a lot of questions you asking? You're getting spreadsheets of information?
Well, I mean, in terms of companies solving the challenges, so, I mean, let's just name a problem, right? We want to 2x our revenue or 100x our revenue in the next 2 years. How is it that we're going to go about doing that? And well, there are strategies that are think strategies. There are strategies that are sort of market penetration strategies, and then there's like, how can we enable that with AI, and what might we be able to do more efficiently? And it's not so dissimilar from almost every other business process that we do and or digital transformation process that you do. It's the people, it's the process, it's the technology. And it's ensuring, and what you're measuring is, are we increasing revenue? Is the top of our funnel increasing? Are the conversions increasing at every sort of level along the way?
And getting people aligned on the direction. And I mean, I think I remember you talking about getting people on board for AI, and maybe this has changed over the last year, but are you finding people are more accepting to this new technology?
I think it depends on who you're talking to, and I think that there are varying degrees of, just in general, right? Like with anything, it's the adoption curve of technology. Some people are really excited early on, which is the folks here at Imagine AI. Some folks are, whatever, the lag of the rest of the curve, later adopters, and then sort of the tail end. But I think in addition to how is this relevant for business, and or is this going to help me achieve what I'm trying to do day to day in an executive's mind or in somebody's mind, there's another subsegment of the population that is working on the very technology that's going to be putting them out of jobs. And so there's a really kind of interesting psychological dynamic in that context of, I am building cutting edge technology, if I'm a computer scientist, I'm building cutting edge technology, I'm out here at the edge of a field, but by generating this, I am actually creating a force that, at least if we keep the work structure the way that it is currently, is going to take over my job at some point in a future that I can see. And that's where I think for companies, especially large enterprise, if you've got a big tech team, how do you shift the focus to human-centric, and how do you invite the people who are living through this experience to create their own future of employment that both is fulfilling to them and creates impact for the company. So I want to AIify my team. I want to make my company more efficient through the use of artificial intelligence technology. And there's a simple sort of objective, like in my mind I call it a maturity model, but we can call it like a snapshot in time that I have leaders especially utilize as they're thinking about what they need their teams to do with AI. And the top line is, scale of 1 to 5. Where does my company's product sit in terms of AIification, if you will? Like, are we 100% an AI product? Are we enabled in some way by AI, or are we brick and mortar still, tangible stuff? Where on the scale do we sit there? And then a measurement of, or a sort of a snapshot of, as a leader, is my job made more efficient and or more effective by AI, to what degree? And for my teams, is their jobs made more effective or efficient through the utilization of AI? And wherever they sit today, there's value to be created, and then we go and search for the tools to help them do that.
Speaking of those tools, do you have a go-to list of tools that you're recommending to them and helping onboard them with?
So I don't do the onboarding of tech. Yeah. So my position is often much more related to strategy. So first and foremost, what is coming down the pipeline? And one of these distinctions, we've talked about a couple of these distinctions on the stage for the last couple of days. What does it mean in the world of strategy that the pace of change has moved from centuries to seasons to seconds?
Yeah.
And the dynamics of strategy have moved from linear to exponential to instantaneous. Right? In an instantaneously changing world, the same strategies that worked that most of us learned in business school don't necessarily apply in the same fashion. So how is it that we want to design strategy in order to achieve the outcomes that we're going to achieve? What are those outcomes? And then you start to pull into the operationalization of, these are the tools and tech that we're going to be using. And as you know, not every tech is good for every challenge or opportunity that's out there.
You mentioned working with NGOs and governments. Is that different approach?
So in my work as a futurist has evolved significantly over the years that I have been doing it. And when I first began, the focus of my work is really around the central question of the future of work, which is how might we empower our success in the face of great uncertainty and disruption. And through that, doing deep research in sort of what happens during industrial revolutions. What is the impact of technology and work in our working world? What are the dynamics of shifting workforce population? And how does this intersect with economic dynamics, macro and micro? That work is largely focused on the future of work and how we design for that, much more from a sort of workforce development kind of perspective. And that's the place where governments have plugged in more frequently.
Cool. If you had one piece of advice to CEOs of businesses, I know you work with big businesses, but let's talk small and medium-sized businesses. How would you help them, as a futurist, how would you help them prepare for the future?
I think the most important thing in thinking about all of this is developing the ability to craft really quality questions. Because there are so many solutions for so many different kinds of things that are happening in the world, but the quality of your questions clearly impacts what it is that you're looking for. But I would shift the question asking. So again, in that same model of what does it mean that we're moving strategically from linear to exponential to quantum, there are strategic questions that sit inside of each of those buckets. So a linear strategic question, which is what most of us have been taught to do, is very data-driven. What can we logically do with what we've already done, what we already know? The exponential question is, given that we're here, what do we want to create? And you pull a future from the future into the present. But then the present forming question, which is of the age of AI and quantum computing in this moment that we're in, asks right now in this very moment what's emerging from the market, or our employees, or our customers, or our clients. And the three of those things together can help without needing tech, without diving into anything that's any more sophisticated, help broaden a strategic perspective beyond what's anchored in a context that no longer is going to apply.
Okay. And how about for the people that fear the disruption and fear the potential loss of their job? What advice would you have for them?
So first and foremost, economists would have us believe that, or at least up until now, economists mostly say, okay, the Industrial Revolution's happening. With technology, jobs are either going to be enabled or replaced, right? So either you're cool or you're toast. This feels a very, very sort of, but in reality, there's a much more nuanced spectrum. And yes, some jobs are being replaced. This is true. This is facts. But many, many jobs are being enabled, right? Like the cardiac surgeon who now can tell you exactly the kind of plaque that's sitting in your heart, so you know if you actually need an open heart surgery or not. Like, this is life-saving stuff. Jobs are being augmented. We know this if you're a marketer of any kind or a creative. The blank page problem has disappeared completely. Many jobs are being created. And then I think there's something else to look at just one step beyond this, which is human empowerment. So if we are moving into a world where the more mundane tasks aren't needed anymore, and as AI combines with robotics to make it such that human beings don't need to be put in dangerous working conditions anymore, what are we freed up to do? And that's where I think the really exciting piece is.
So my last question for you is your predictions for new sectors of the economy that are going to open up in this AI age and possible jobs creation with this.
So there's a book that I started reading. Also, what does Ray Dalio say? He says something to the effect of, paraphrasing, like, those who look at the crystal ball are destined to eat glass, right? So prediction.
Yeah.
But in thinking about and looking at where things are going, there was a book that was written in 2014, 2015 by an economist, Tyler Cowen, and he talks about this idea that average is over, and average meaning the bell curve of distribution, both of pay, of job opportunities, and things like that. And so the high end of the tail, where most jobs are going to be in creating tech, marketing tech, and both helping the people who are doing both of those things feel good about themselves, but then also there's going to be a lot of work in helping other human beings through this transition. Because different, I believe, from other industrial revolutions, the economics of this shift are making sense a lot faster. And so the transition's coming much more quickly than we think.
Well, Elatia, is there anything else you'd like to say to our audience of maybe somebody that's considering working with you, and anything you'd like to say?
Well, I believe that now is the most exciting time that we have ever lived in as human beings on this planet. And while many would say that we are walking through sort of a doorway of doom and gloom, I think we're actually moving through a window of empowerment to create a future that's more abundant, more just, more equitable for everybody if we partner together in collaborative ways, and if we understand that we can also do that kind of partnering together with the technology. So I would say if you are listening, if you and your teams are grappling with what will the future look like for our business strategy and for how we bring people together in order to bring that strategy to life, give me a call.
Well, thanks so much for sitting down with me, and I look forward to talking with you again in the future. Thanks so much for being a part of the Imagine AI Live community.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
That's one.